This is episode 63 of Album a Day Online here on the YouTube. My name is Daryl, I'm your critic. Welcome to a band that should be no stranger, certainly to anyone who's watched any of my other reviews. They should know that I'm a huge fan of this band. And I've been following them since their first day album, their debut record, Asleep in the Back, of which I actually just picked up a new copy because I wore out the first copy I had. Actually, this is the third copy of it now that I've owned, or that I've had to buy because I just keep wearing it out. Tangent. Is their seventh studio record, Little Fictions, out right around now? Is it any good? Of course it is. It's Elbow. They really have to work very hard in order to make a bad record. Is it revelatory like Asleep in the Back, like Seldom Seen Kid, like Takeoff and Landing of Everything? No, it's not. And I think the departure of longtime drummer and original band member Richard Jupp, I think it affected the songwriting. Now, I'm a drummer, so maybe I just want to hear a little more percussive aggression in my albums, but I don't think that's entirely it, because some of my favorite Elbow tracks are ones in which case percussion is all but absent. Sometimes less is more, and Elbow certainly throughout their career have been very, very good at illustrating that point. And they do so again on this record. There are standout tracks. Magnificent, She Says, and Gentle Storm, the first two tracks on the record, are as good as anything else they've put out, which is extremely high praise. However, by the time you get to the end of the record, you're left feeling a little disappointed. And which isn't to say that if you're a fan, you shouldn't pick up this record, because as a fan of this band, I know that you will pick up this record. If you are wondering about checking out this band, Elbow, that I keep going on about, I wouldn't necessarily say this is the record with which to start. I would go back to perhaps Cast of Thousands, definitely Asleep in the Back, or most definitely their Seldom Seen Kid record, which is still their best-selling and most commercially and universally praised album by fans and critics alike. Little Fictions bears the stamp of a band wondering what's to do next. They don't have, well, I'm sure they found a permanent drummer by now, but when you lose a longtime member, even one that is a percussionist, which drummers, and as a drummer, it hurts me to say this, but drummers are reasonably interchangeable. Unless you are a drummer like Neil Peart or Mike Mangini or you know, a prog rock drummer that is at the top of the drumming game, it's not hard to find a competent drummer that can fill the shoes of the drummer that you had before. Can I say the word drummer any more in one more sentence? And it hurts to say that as a percussionist, as a drummer myself, but I know in all the bands that I've been in that as good as I am, or as good as I think I am, there's someone out there who's better, and if I leave a band, there will be someone out there who can replace me. What Richard Jupp might have brought to the band, if not in his drumming capability, might have been an energy that helped lend itself to a more upbeat or a more more upbeat sound that is missing in Little Fictions. There are, of course, a mix of down-tempo and up-tempo songs on this record, as there are with all Elbow albums, but this one really emphasizes the fact that there is not a permanent percussionist, or there was not a permanent percussionist in the fold during the recording. There's drum programming, there's a few extra people that came aboard, and quite honestly, it does sound a bit disjointed from one track to the next. It's a good record. I recommend it for fans, but again, if you're not a fan, I would say go check out Seldom Seen Kid, which is arguably their best album. Is it my favorite? Pretty close. Top two. It interchanges between Cast of Thousands, which is their second record, and the Seldom Seen Kid. Well, this has been a very mumbly episode. There's not a lot to say about Elbow. I don't want to say bad stuff about them because I love the band. I love the music. I love Guy Garvey's voice. That's the singer, by the way. I love his vocalizations. I love his lyrics. That is something I will say. And again, I may find that my opinion of this record changes because for the last 2 or 3, I always feel that the band isn't keeping up with Guy Garvey's lyrics. And then somewhere within the 4th or 5th month of owning the record, I throw it on again and say, let's give this another listen, and it clicks. Something kicks in and I realize, oh my goodness, this is an amazing album. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens for me. By the time the summer comes around, I'm sure Little Fictions will be an indispensable part of my collection. But at this stage, I'm willing to just let it sit as an album that I think is pretty okay. Don't necessarily feel it holds up to albums in the past, although there are amazing tracks on here. Wouldn't necessarily recommend it to non-fans as a place to start if I'm trying to get them into this band. But again, as is the case with all of Elbow's records, it is a slow burn. But once it catches you, you go up in the flames of blah, blah, blah. Bad metaphors. It being Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day. Go out, fall in love with some new music. Don't stop discovering new music. Don't stop listening to music. Music is better than a bouquet of roses. And that's all I'll say for now. Go out and discover new music, and for goodness sakes, protect your hearing so that you can continue listening to music as you get older. And that's all I'll say for now. My name's Daryl. I've been your critic, your very rambly critic, and I'll see you again for episode number 64, probably of the new Mother record. Have a great day.